All right, welcome everyone to StormTracker Live. I'm meteorologist Anthony Carpino, joined by meteorologist Steve Glazier. Steve, how's it going?
It's great, Anthony. Here we are on the set. You've been working a lot on this,
A
so
little
it's an
behind
honor
the
to
scenes
be here.
I'm glad
Oh,
we've
yeah.
finally been able to get together and chat. You've been busy all afternoon, letting folks know the rain coming through. Finally seeing some of those showers out there tonight. Some areas seeing some gusty winds, but this is going to get out of here pretty quickly.
I didn't mind the rain too much. I know for
Yeah.
snow lovers, it's like, the lost potential. It's melting, a lot of leftover snow,
Yeah.
but, we need the rain since last fall. And it's just kind of a cleansing rate. It's like, it was nice to just breathe that in, spring-like air.
This
It's
morning,
pretty
I will
nice.
say, I let Storm outside, the pup, and it was mild outside. Like, it was pretty mild out there. I was like, oh, well, the snow's gone at this point. And it's just really nice. Hi, Jill. Thanks for watching. Love a rainy night. Yeah, there's something about just, like, hanging out in the house. You can hear the rain hitting the roof, and it's just relaxing, isn't it?
I think there's a song about that, right? Love a rainy night.
I love that song,
And
too.
did you say Storm? Your
Storm-
dog?
My dog is named Storm.
Weather related, of course.
I feel like that's just like a thing that is a default for all meteorologists. Like if you have a pet, therefore it is a weather term. You have a couple. You have a
Well,
pet.
I have a cat that's
Yeah.
like more astronomically named Luna,
Luna. Love
Spanish
Luna.
for moon. So, yeah, and
Love
she's
it.
a black cat, so it's kind of fitting.
Also very appropriate for sure too. But we have that rain moving through right now. Let's kind of go through
Yeah, let's
tonight
go
and
through it.
let's
Yeah.
see what we're going with. Al, how's it going? When will the winds die down? So we're gonna get to that in just a second. Let's go through some of the graphics.
Okay, that sounds good. Now here we go. Cool. All right, big thanks to Angela too. She's helping to run the show here.
Let's
She's
go,
behind the
Angela.
scenes. Yeah. So this was, and Angela was asking us before we went on, like, is this the same storm that was deadly? We had the impact of the blizzard, the tornadoes, and yes, the whole, a lot of the country, I'd say the eastern 2/3 of the country felt this one, maybe even most of the country.
Yeah.
And this is kind of, Anthony, kind of our first big spring storm when we look at meteorological spring, winter storm, blizzard, and tornadoes.
Well, look at the severe aspect of it too. I mean, you can see with the satellite picture here, you can see now we're getting a lot of that dry air stretching down through the southern half of the country there. So places like Atlanta, going through the Carolinas, you can see that dry air on the back side of it, but it is very summer-esque. And we were talking about that severe weather. So the Storm Prediction Center had a level 3 outlook for a good chunk of the southern half of the country over the last couple of days. So yeah, very severe weather season-esque. For us, yeah, we've seen some moderate showers. Right now, it looks like mainly the eastern half of Connecticut. You can kind of see that kind of east of the river. But at one point, we were watching the Bridgeport camera, and the rain was coming down at a pretty good clip, that kind of like ribbon of heavier rain showers.
Yeah, while we were watching that, there was actually a storm report of some wires down, a few outages in Bridgeport right around that same time. You'll probably see it. It's right in the middle toward the first half, the middle of this loop. Sorry, I bumped the mic. The Bridgeport, right there, you see that line quickly move through. So that was actually a pretty intense line that pushed through, Anthony, and was able to knock down some lines and some minor damage. We also, there's this thing we use called MPing. It's basically community source where you can just say what's going on weather-wise. And there was a report of trash cans and recycling bins and small tree branches down.
Yeah, I always like to see those reports come in because it's always just just to start. It is a great tool to let everyone know what is kind of going on. But I always kind of laugh at them, especially because we're talking about winds coming in, and you see, a trash can knocked over, and it's just you always make those kind of jokes like, we will rebuild. But
the famous lawn chair tipped on its side, and then thoughts and prayers. But no, this is a decent one, and it looks like this is live, by the way. So this is ongoing right now. Pouring in Ashford.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that too.
It
We've
is.
seen that on the rain, the radar there, kind of looping through. Jenny, thanks for that.
Yeah. So anytime you start to see those oranges, shades of orange, that's pretty moderate rain right there. That's coming down. You can probably hear it maybe on the roof of the window, and if you stand out in that for, I don't know, what'd you say, 30 seconds to a minute, you're pretty well soaked.
Yeah, you're going to get a good soak in there. Sometimes this time of year, Steve, we have, cold air a little bit higher up in the atmosphere, and sometimes that will play a trick on the radar a little bit. But I think it's just been so mild that we don't have to worry about kind of, what are we really seeing here? And I agree with you. I think we see when it's orange and yellow, that is moderate showers coming down versus in the wintertime, the radar might get tricked into seeing some like
I
wet
know, right?
snowflakes or something
Yeah,
like
those
that.
big fat flakes melting. So it looks, because the radar is basically just kind of measuring the size of the object. So if it's a big object, it's like, oh, okay, that's why you get hail,
Right.
showing up as big, bright images in the summer. So if it's seen that big snowflake, it's like, oh, it's a big, potentially raindrop or a lot of raindrops, but
Right.
it's just a big fat flake.
Yeah.
51 in Ellington. So, okay, so Steven, it's what's today, March 5th? And 51 at night and raining. So this is super warm.
I would say we're moving in the right direction if you're a fan of spring and then eventually summer. Looks like we
It
have
is, yeah.
another
Oh,
on there,
no.
Gregory. Roof is leaking at the Yukon men's game. That
Interesting,
is,
okay.
yeah, okay, because that is going to be, you can see that on the radar there. So just
Yeah, Storrs is
essentially south of where the Tolland
Yep.
icon there is. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's where we could see like that heavy rain coming down. So thanks for sending in that.
That's a big game tonight because they're taking on Marquette.
Yeah, they are.
So interesting. All right. Yeah, you don't want. I mean, you ever see after a play in basketball, because it's so sweaty, a player drops to the floor and then everybody just goes out with the mops or
Yep.
hand towels.
Exactly.
So they don't want any water on that floor.
No.
I made this graphic earlier. It looks like they dropped it because there was an outline for gusts to 40 to 50 up in the Litchfield Hills.
Yeah,
Looks like that's been dropped.
Yeah, the Weather Service in Albany had a special weather statement at one point earlier this afternoon, just calling for gusts, like you said there,
Mhm.
potentially up to about 40 or 50 miles per hour. Essentially, the reason they had that just for that part of the state, higher elevation there, for this particular system, mixing to the surface was their original thought for some gustier winds. So you might have heard us say over the last couple of days, there was that potential for gusts, anywhere from 40, maybe up to 50 miles per hour. So we were thinking, with pretty good confidence of that air starting to mix down to the surface a little bit. Tonight, I don't think that happened quite as strong.
Yeah.
So we saw winds from about 35, maybe up to about 40 miles per hour. So pretty close to what we were originally thinking.
Yeah, and just a little bit of behind the curtain. I'm loading up. You can take that, Anthony. The Storm Prediction Center is one thing that we work with really closely, and they are, responsible for all the tornado watches, but they also cover winter weather, and they have a meso-analysis page. So
Oh, okay.
I'm just looking up the kind of the current situation here for the winds. So the winds right now above us are analyzed. So this is interesting. So this is like a little bit of behind the curtain. So based on this analysis, it's like a real-time analysis. The wind 5,000 feet above us is at 65 to 70 miles an hour.
Okay.
So it's just above our heads. Sometimes you can see that as low clouds just like screaming across.
Right.
So when Anthony and I are forecasting, we're like, okay, so how much does that come down? Because
Right. How does
sometimes
that
it
work its
can
way down the
transport
surface?
down, but sometimes it gets stuck up there. So it's always like a fine-tune forecast for the wind, and wind is one of the trickier
Yeah.
things to forecast.
No, it definitely is, especially with some of these systems, just the
Yeah.
way the wind direction is. Some of a factor too, Long Island Sound, so you have a very stable marine layer there, the air rushing in from the south, passing over that and kind of dragging that air that's near the water kind of with it a little bit, and that stable air could also have kind of an effect there too.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot goes into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and there
for
you
sure.
go, winds gusting right now, 33 miles per hour in New Haven, about 29 in the Hartford area. So those are current gusts, not the highest that we've seen
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah, I think I have a list of highest here. We have
There we
about
go.
39. I have to update it with Bridgeport because Bridgeport's 36, but I did see when that line moved through and knocked down some power lines. I think it got to 40
Could
plus.
have jumped up a little bit there.
But Greg is asking a question, Gregory. We've been getting this a lot.
We
We've been
have,
talking about-
and not even just between like you guys and just the conversations
Yeah.
between us, but I think we've had at least 3 people in the newsroom come up to us today and be like, "Hey, any more chances of snow before
I know.
the rest of this month?" So you can tackle that one first.
I know. So I'm going, boy, I'm probably going to back myself into a corner by saying, no, we're good, I think, and no more chances of snow. I say I'm packing myself into a corner because it's New England. It's only March 5th. Anything happen.
Well, now that you say that, you know what happens now.
I'll jinx it. You get a few things to line up, and then all of a sudden you get a big, late season nor'easter. And it just takes just the right thing. And, we've missed out
does.
on that this year. But based on what I'm seeing, I'll skip ahead and say we're easing into no more snow before spring.
I'm going to still say we have one more to go. Will it be, a blockbuster thing? Probably not, but I am still holding out just a little bit of hope that we're going to have just a little bit more snow. We were looking at a couple of the models that we don't like to show too far out, but kind of for our own kind of like looking ahead at trends. And I'm saying there's a chance. I'm not saying anything else beyond that. I'm saying that winter's not completely done. March, we've seen big storms in March before, and we're only at the beginning. So we'll see how it goes. The forecast next week won't suggest snow with our temperatures back to the 60s.
It's pretty warm.
So Steve may be closer to that than I am.
Yeah,
but
that still only takes us out to like the 14th. So
we'll see how it goes.
So one thing I like to do is like, if this were to be all snow, like the rain outside, if we're all falling to snow, an easy way that we use is multiply the rain amounts by 10. So move the decimal over one spot to the right from the rain we've had.
Right.
And we've had rainfall up to almost an inch and a half. So that if it were to have been snow, it could have been 15 inches in Reading.
See, that's just
I know.
that hurts a little bit.
I know,
you know?
it does, right.
If you're like, I'm a
Yeah.
fan. Like, I only got to the mountain once this year.
Oh, my.
And I know our chief Ryan, he's out skiing somewhere. He's enjoying it a little bit. I don't even know where he is.
He's seeking the snow.
Yeah, he's seeking the
Oh,
snow.
yeah.
For us, we're just kind of looking at these numbers and
know.
just kind of wishing there a little bit. But let's talk about, the rain kind of moving forward for the rest of this evening. Any plans for tonight or tomorrow?
Happy birthday, Lisa.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. It's okay.
I know
it's good
rain
luck.
on your wedding day is a good thing. I
Right.
would imagine it's a good
is.
thing on your birthday too. But happy birthday, Lisa.
Yeah, thanks for joining us too. Hopefully you've had a good day. And yeah, like you said, this rain's moving through. It cleared a little bit. There's a little back edge that's moving through Jersey and New York right now. So it looks like this, but it's going to end pretty quickly. I mean, look at that. Between 9 and midnight, a lot of it shuts off. So
Yeah.
by the time a lot of us are going to bed, we'll probably go to bed with it raining, and hopefully that's a nice way to fall asleep. I always love that sound.
It is a really good sound. Just like it's just
it's
calming.
nice.
It's very
nice.
calming.
It's not going to be too hard. Sometimes in the morning, it's hard to get out of bed. It's rainy,
true.
it's
I mean,
cozy.
I mean, in the morning in general, it's hard to get out of bed. At least for
right.
me, I'm not a morning person, but
Yep.
yeah.
But it won't be raining tomorrow morning, so it'll be maybe a little bit easier.
Yeah, and the winds tomorrow are supposed to stay relatively light
are.
for us too.
Yep. Yeah, they are.
Look at
Probably,
this though. I
probably
mean,
10 to 15.
look at this
I
thing.
know, I
This is
know.
just crazy.
This is warm for March 5th.
17
These are the
degrees.
current.
This is wild too. What time is it? 9
So it's
o'clock.
9 o'clock at night.
It is 53 degrees in Windsor Locks. That is
I know.
very mild. Colebrook's the closest to reality right now for us, coming in at 37 degrees. Everyone else is enjoying some mild.
That's amazing how
air.
cold Coldbrook is, though.
The
That-
hills,
that- yeah.
the hills. They do it
trap
every
that
time.
cold air.
What did you call it earlier? The
Icebox of Connecticut.
icebox of Connecticut. I
yeah.
like that.
I took a trip up to the Salisbury Jump Fest this year for the first time, and even the folks there call Norfolk. They say it Norfolk with an R. So they said that's the icebox of Connecticut. And you can see it too.
Yeah.
I call these winds, so today's wind has been south. I call it a snow eater wind because it's
I
just
like that.
eating away at the
It is.
snow.
It is totally
It
eating
is.
away at it.
Yep.
Let's talk about tonight. By tomorrow morning.
Yeah, so
So
I think I know. So tonight's low. So the way our low temperatures work, this is kind of overnight. Tomorrow night before midnight, that low still counts. So when we look at the record books,
Yeah.
the climate report, our low will actually occur, our minimum temperature probably at 11:50 p.m. tomorrow night, if you can kind of follow along with that.
Yeah.
Because tonight's warm.
It is kind of weird
Yeah.
how that kind of plays out because we're talking about Thursday temperatures. The last few days, like, oh, Thursday could be close to 60. We're kind of like 57 is what we're going with right now.
Yeah.
But that will likely happen more for the first half of Thursday
Yes.
versus the afternoon on Thursday.
Allison loves spring. I know. I
So
do
do
too.
I.
Yep. It is exciting. I know that you're a big lawn guy. I was just looking at some lawns
yes.
today because, there's a lot of the last year brownness. But if you look closely, at least on some south facing lawns or ones that get a lot of sunlight, you see a little green trying to
You know what I've
pop
seen
through.
in the flower beds, some of the lilies
Yes.
starting to, I think lilies, no, maybe not lilies.
I'm blanking
The
on what they
yellow
were
flowers one.
Yeah,
I
they're just
think it's
they're
a
just
little-
poking through.
Yep.
To start with a P. I always forget. I saw them the other day because my wife was showing me them. They're like, look closely, just
Yep,
little.
I've seen a couple of the beds, and they're all just starting to come up. So another sign that spring is right around the corner for us.
Okay, so snow. So you see some snow.
Good old lake effect. Look at that.
Yeah, that's up in the northern New England. Snowing in East Hartford.
Is it?
Is that really?
I want to see some pictures, Stephanie, please.
I know. I want to see that, Stephen, because that's interesting. I mean, there are some colder pockets, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I gotta see that. That would make us raise our eyebrows. Like, what?
I mean,
Wow.
That'd be kind of cool, though.
I know. We only saw 37 in Coldbrook, so
I mean, it's
if
trying
there's
to, the
anything-
cold air is trying to. I mean, this is Friday morning, so we'll see the cold air try to work its way in from the northwest, and we will see a cooling trend a little bit as we go through the weekend, but it's still going to be above average. We're only talking about 40s for portions of the weekend, and there you go by Saturday.
Yeah,
back to sunshine.
That's that Washington. So you see Washington D.C. over the ocean. There's a little low that's moving through, and it just misses us. We've gotten missed a lot to the Washington D.C. down to the south. They've gotten a lot of those quick lows.
They have, and we were looking at that a couple days ago, and it was trying to push some stuff in our neck of the woods. Maybe one more chance for some of those snow showers, but nope.
One of my least favorite parts of weather. I love all weather, but my least favorite is wind. I just don't like. It's just kind of annoying. I like it for the renewable energy, turning turbines, getting some wind going. If there's a fun activity like parasailing or kite, flying a kite, but overall wind, I'm like, ugh. And Friday's going to be a windy day.
It is. The wind is expected to jump right back up for us. In fact, it's likely going to be a little bit stronger than the gusts that we saw today. Today we were, mostly 35, 40 miles per hour. But yeah, Friday's expected to be a little bit more breezy. We cool things back down by Saturday, Sunday there, 42 to 46, and we have daylight saving time going into effect. If there is one cure for, the seasonal depression a little bit there, is extra hour of daylight.
Yeah, the extra sunset.
Be amazing.
It's almost 7 o'clock.
Yeah. And I believe about a month from now, that sunset time changes. And if I'm remembering our graphic right, it's 7:17 a month from now.
Sunset. Yep. Even around St. Patrick's Day, it's around 7 o'clock for sunset. So I've been like the negative Nancy in all the shows tonight because I've been calling this weekend the shortest weekend of the year, and it's kind of sad to think about it.
I know Keisha like that one.
Yeah, we're kind of getting an hour taken from us. So it is from 5 o'clock on Friday to 8 in the morning on Monday. It is the shortest weekend, but the trade-off is I'll take the extra daylight. Hopefully the kids' schedules don't get messed up because they're still kind of used to the same thing. All of a sudden, they're going to bed.
I am going to feel for Alexis a little bit, though, for the morning show on Sunday. Yeah. That's always really tough trying to come into the morning show, essentially an hour early. And that's already getting up early enough.
It's, the morning crew. Definitely think of them. But, Anthony, so this is all the way through Saturday, March 15th now.
Yeah, look at that.
And it's warm. It's warm pattern. We're going 63. Now, some models are projecting – I'd say 67 or 68 on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. Upper 60s. So I always like to kind of go conservative at first in case there's this little sneaky cool air. Not to get everybody's hopes up.
Right.
Not to go 70 and then all of a sudden it's
I have to bring it right back down. Sometimes you're kind of on that edge. You have the system that kind of comes up from the south and we're in a good warm zone. Other times, if it shifts a little bit further off to the east or west or wherever, it kind of messes up those temperatures for us. But that is something to look forward to. Every day next week above 50, like even for the shoreline.
Right. Shoreline, it depends on that wind direction. If it comes off the sound, it could keep it a little cooler. But but overall, it'll be the warmest. And what's interesting about Tuesday, Wednesday of next week is that usually if it's warm, it's cloudy or there's rain with it.
Right.
But this actually looks to be, warm temperatures plus dry and sunshine, which we haven't gotten too much yet.
I feel like every time we've gotten like the warmth with it, it's either been like breezy outside. You can't really enjoy it all that much. And like you mentioned, like the clouds kind of going back and forth. So if we can squeeze in some sun, especially that Tuesday there, I think we're going to be in good shape.
These are just some extra graphics that we had pulled in. That's Bridgeport there. And you can kind of see how the rain ends kind of quickly tonight, but warm. Warm. All that snow is melting. One thing that the weather models were picking up on tonight, which you might run into tomorrow morning, is fog. Fog's always a little bit tougher to predict, too. So there could be some fog with as warm as it is and moist.
Yeah.
And once the rain ends, sometimes fog just kind of replaces it.
Especially if we can have those winds on the lighter side, too, before they kind of pick back up by Friday. That could also help with some patchy fog by tomorrow morning.
Wow, spring-like. Okay, so I think that's all I've got for
Angela, any more questions there in the chat at all?
No? Cool.
All right, cool. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us this episode of StormTracker Live. We're going to be hopefully doing more of these live updates on Facebook as well as on our YouTube page, so you can head to both spots if you missed anything. Of course, you can always find us on social media. Ask us any kind of weather questions. We love to take the questions. And yeah, we're going to have more updates coming up tonight at 11 o'clock. Both Steve and I are going to be talking about what we can expect over the next couple of days.
Yeah, and I like the have the NBC Connecticut app. It's free, and the weather section is nice. You have radar in there, the hourly forecast.
Yep.
Our weather videos get updated, boy, at least 3 times a day on there, at least.
Yeah.
So kudos to the team, all putting that together too. And that's always a nice resource. You can just get caught up with the weather at a glance.
And it's customizable. We were talking about this earlier today,
yeah?
too. So if you don't like the setup of it right now, you can actually drag things around and you can actually order it in the
cool.
way that you like. For me, I don't want, the bullet point forecast right at the top. Maybe I want the videos at the top or the radar at the top. So you can move all that around too. So check it out if you don't have it already. Like Steve said, it's free and it's customizable. You can make it however you want to make it.
All right. Well, thanks, Anthony, for having me in this wonderful studio here.
I'm glad to finally do this, especially with another Met too. So we got to do more of this stuff. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a great night. Don't forget the umbrellas. You're stepping out the door. It's going to be a little bit drier tomorrow, but we'll see you guys at 11 o'clock. Have a great night.
Good night.